Oh boy.
Oh boy.
Oh boy. It's episode 44.
Episode 44. And this episode actually has a sponsor. We have our first freaking sponsor. It's bark.us. So this is a online. It's a monitoring software. We'll talk about it in a little bit because I want to get your take on it. But just wanted to say that we have our first sponsor, and that's awesome.
Yeah. Do we get is it like copy that we have to read?
No.
That's like one of my favorite parts of the Bill Burr podcast.
Is when he reads it real shitty. He
reads all these things that he's being paid to read, but then he just inserts so much shit, and he makes fun of the products.
Yeah.
And
well, that's probably
when you're in a place like that, you can get away with it.
Well, not even just get away with it. That's literally probably the contract.
Yeah.
When you do sponsorship, there's several different ways to do it. There's like pre-roll, which is you read something beforehand. There's mid-roll. There's topical. There's all these different ways to do it. His is so full of sarcasm that it has to be.
He'll say stuff. He'll read it, and he'll be reading something, and he'll be like, talk about the way you feel about this, and he goes, I'll read anything you put on this in front of me.
Yeah, that's super funny.
Pretty funny.
All right, Collin. I'm gonna start us off with the sweetest thing that you put on the board because I'm so ready to talk about this. We forgot that Stained had some bangers. And you just put that on there.
I was literally on the way here listening to Stained.
Yeah.
I'm going to start this topic off by plugging. On Thursday, the 20th, at Big Room Bar, Knox and Jordan from Zone Zero are putting on a dance party hangout night at Big Room Bar. That's called Family Values Night.
It's like emo nights that happen in every city except for it's new metal.
It's new metal.
Which,
I got a shout out to that.
Yeah.
I'm going to try to go if I can, and I'm really stoked about it. And so I've just been listening to new metal this afternoon while I was cleaning and stuff like that. And on the way here, I was just flipping through some stuff, and I was thinking, because Knox said he was trying to put together a playlist for it. So
he better put Spine Shank on there. I need Spine Shank.
So I was listing some deep cuts, or not deep cuts, but more deeper cuts of songs that I think that people know but are good. And I thought Stained, the song Home.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? And so then I was thinking about it, and I was like, it's so easy now to associate Stained with It's Been a While and with his country shit
and Outside, or that I'm on the outside.
Yeah. And his country shit, and the fact that he's kind of a dickhead.
Yeah.
Because he's had some things where he's gotten into it with people on stage.
Sure.
And
I think at the airport as well. I think he got into it with someone else from another new metal.
And
band.
he's
was it West Borland?
Probably.
I think it was West Borland.
And he's a right winger too, so I think he kind of gets into it sometimes with that, and he gets, there's no problem with being a conservative, but he gets dragged for that sometimes too. So I think that there's we associate a lot of stuff with Stained, but you forget that Dysfunction was a great album that was early on in new metal in general.
They were always a band that was accepted in new metal, but I never looked at them as new metal.
Yeah.
I looked at them as something else. And it was all because his singing. His singing was very
and it's
rock.
easy also when you think of Aaron Lewis's singing to go to that kind of warbly Scott Stapp. I'll write him off. He just sounds like every other guy that sounds like this. But when I was thinking of that song Home, I mean it's like a Deftones song.
Yeah.
It's got a huge hook, and it's emotional, and it feels good. And there's other shit like that Mud Shovel song, even that song's heavy. It has those kind of
whole album
classic new metal tropes in it, but
he also used a baritone guitar, which just added a layer of heavy.
We just forget that Stained, before they got really commercial, did have this kind of gem of a record that actually I feel set a template for a lot of bands. They were one of the first ones to kind of do that Deftones-y thing, along with Deftones.
Well, okay.
You know what I mean?
And then also Far.
Yes.
Can we? Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying? At that level, they were on Family Values tour.
Sure.
At that level, they were doing this really heavy, slow, emotional stuff with big hooks, and you weren't really hearing a lot of that yet. And I feel like bands like Breaking Benjamin wouldn't exist if it weren't for Stained's Dysfunction record.
They also, I don't think they've put a record out in 7 or 8 years.
Yeah, probably.
And they're still, just for the record, they're still getting close to 3 million listeners monthly on Spotify.
Wild.
I want to know Like what kind of check you get for that? I have no concept. If you have 3 million monthly listeners, what does that amount to?
Yeah, because that's not 3 million monthly streams. That's listeners. So
Yeah.
you could imagine some of those are mega fans who are active listeners. So you probably
just jamming the whole record.
If you got 3 million monthly listeners, you're probably looking at 20 million streams. Just off the top of my head, guess.
Yeah, because you got some people that are going to do 7 or 10 or 12 or 15 records, and some that might do one.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody's good for one, and let's say that half of them are there for more than one.
Yeah,
that's a pretty I like your math on that.
It's funny. I was talking about royalties the other night because we were listening to that Denzel Curry record, and he has a chorus. He says like uglier than Bubba Sparks, and
that's a name I haven't heard in a while.
And my friend was like, "Sucks to be Bubba Sparks right now because of this song," and I was like, "It doesn't suck to be Bubba Sparks at all. That dude is swimming in like Scrooge McDuck money." Because he's got one single that every fucking white girl does at karaoke.
What is it?
Miss New Booty.
I don't even know the song.
I found you, Miss New Booty.
That's Bubba Sparks?
That's Bubba Sparks,
Shut the fuck up.
That dude has a one-hit wonder, and I guarantee that he is still cashing huge fucking checks.
Hold on. There's another song way before that I knew Bubba Sparks for. Bubba, and it's like SPARX or something. Two X's. 2 X's. Okay. I see the Miss New Booty song. Where is it? I think it might be this song Ugly.
Yeah, I remember that song too.
We're getting ugly or what?
Okay, so
wasn't that it?
The uglier than Bubba Sparks line makes a little bit more sense at a meta level.
Yeah.
Anyway,
that's the
all I'm saying is it doesn't suck to be him because he's still fucking raking in royalty checks. I guarantee it.
So one thing that I think happens more than people think happens is they know that this is going to be a hot take line, or they want to say this, and they call and kind of get permission from people first. So when it comes out, the real drama, or like fans, oh shit, you hear what he said? That person already knew it was coming. So that happens a fucking lot.
Well, I mean, it's that happens all over the place too, because like all these like tell-all books of people who have been working in the Trump White House and stuff that. It's like people keep acting like this is like big bombshell shit, but it's like you realize that like the White House gets to review those manuscripts first.
Oh, for sure.
And they get to say, oh yeah, that's okay to say that. So it's like they know that this stuff isn't bombshell stuff that anyone's going to care about other than a bunch of headlines on CNN for a day and a half.
Yeah. For that actually, that's a weird flex on Denzel's behalf. That took him back to 2001 or maybe 2000. And just said, by the way, I know about this music too. Yeah. Like that's a flex.
Pitchfork in their review talked about the whole thing. The big comparisons were DMX and ODB for that whole record.
Oh, I actually heard 2 or 3.
There's straight up DMX stuff.
Yeah, exactly. I heard 2. Yeah, and I thought that was cool that he did that. Like where he took some lines and took DMX's sound, cadence, some of his inflection that he's known for, and did those as part of his song. I thought that was awesome.
Yeah, that's
why I like new rappers that give the nod to I'll call them old rappers.
Denzel is like Freddie Gibbs in not similar, but like him in the fact that I feel like he's incredibly talented and flexible across all different rap genres. Like you can hear Denzel Curry doing mumble rap shit. I mean, he was one of the first like names in the SoundCloud rap scene. You know what I mean? But then he can do like bars on like boom bap beats.
Yeah.
And then he can do like big like chanty trap shit. I love it. I love it
as well.
Freddie Gibbs the same way to me.
All right. So what'd you get into this week, Collin?
Man, this week at work was like it just went by like that. It felt like I worked 2 work weeks.
I thought that was just me, but my week flew by.
It was exhausting. Here's a cool thing. Do you guys because this is our Valentine's episode.
Is it?
I don't know. I guess it's Valentine's Day on Friday.
Yeah. Shout out to Cupid.
And
his shuffle.
Do you guys celebrate Valentine's Day? My Valentine's Day was weird.
No. So I've gotten in trouble like in past relationships, like when you're like very juvenile, like that's a big thing.
Yeah.
I set the precedence very early on, and like in adulthood, that I just don't do that one.
Well, that was the thing. Like Sierra texted me on Friday, and she was like, my coworkers are talking about, all the things they did for their boyfriends and husbands, and I feel so bad that we didn't do I didn't do a thing for you. I was like, we haven't celebrated Valentine's Day in like 10 years, and I think you and I both have a mutual understanding about how it's stupid and about how like we're married to each other. And we should always feel that way.
Smash the patriarchy.
And it's a less patriarchy and more just straight up capitalism.
Sure.
Gone over the top.
One of the biggest what they call Hallmark holidays.
Yeah. And so it's funny because we don't really celebrate either.
Yeah.
We do things for the kids, and that's a funny thing too, is because Sierra grew up with Valentine's Day in a different way than I did, because like Valentine's Day had nothing to do with my parents and I. You know what I mean? And so like there was never a thing like that, but like the way Sierra looks at Valentine's Day was the way her parents did with her, and like it's like a Easter basket basically. Like we get like the kids like Valentine's Day gifts because that's how she grew up, and I just it's so foreign to me. The kids love it and it's great, and just like little shit and some candy.
Yeah.
But I as a girl dad, #girl dad, I like to get Beatrice, I usually get her like a single flower. This year I got her a little orchid, like a small orchid she could put in her room and she can water herself. That's easy to water and stuff like that. I like to do stuff like that for my daughter, just to pursue her, as they say, good dad,
Yeah. That's cool.
But anyway, my Valentine's Day was super weird is what I was getting at. So it started, I woke up furious. I'll tell you why I woke up furious.
All right.
2:30 in the morning, I wake up on the couch, okay? And like I do most nights of the week, 2:30 to 4, I wake up on the couch, realize I spilled a whole seltzer water on my pants and, while I was asleep.
Sure,
and,
it's not piss.
And anyway, I'm just cleaning up, putting the dogs in their crates and stuff like that. And I'm like, conversation hurts. I'm a big, candy is my vice. I love candy. And I'm like, ooh, and I like just slam there's a third of the box left, and it's 2:30 in the morning. I'm half asleep, and I just go and fucking lose a crown off my tooth. And I was like, oh, God damn it. And I was instantly just furious.
Yeah.
And, that tooth is gone. I had a root canal, so it doesn't hurt or anything like that, but there's this like gaping hole in the back of my mouth. And, so I get up in the morning and I'm still just furious. I'm just like, the kids were all like, why is daddy in such a bad mood?
Mean dad.
Mean dad.
Yeah. It's because of that facial hair that you're still rocking.
I forgot about that conversation.
Yeah. Which, by the way, when I showed up today.
It's coming in.
Yeah, it's coming in. It's getting darker.
You said it was really visible from far away.
Yeah, because when you first shaved it, it was only visible from like 5 to 7 feet. And today, when I turned into the hallway here, I could see you sitting on that couch.
We'll come back to this one.
And I could see it.
I want to talk about it.
You want to talk about it more? All right, so we'll come back to it.
Anyway, so my day starts with a gaping hole in my mouth. But I had we had our company meeting at work, and I had to give it like a 20-minute presentation. So I had to do that whilst being really pissed and annoyed and distracted by the fact that I have dental issues.
Okay.
So that happened. And then I had like a 2-hour window because I had another client meeting. I had a 2-hour window to try to get into the dentist to fix this shit. If they got me in, so then I had to drive all the way deep Worthington and back, and got that done. And then, so at this point, I'm just so already physically and emotionally exhausted, just because I was so mad and so stressed and all that stuff. And then later in the evening, I had like a long conversation with a close friend that was a long time coming. So it was just like a really emotionally, it was great. It was a great conversation, but it was really draining. And so I was just like sad boy. And, we don't, like I said, we don't celebrate Valentine's Day. So Sierra went out and had dinner with a friend, and I was just enjoying the alone time by myself. but I was like moping, because I was just feeling like so spent and depressed, and it's Valentine's Day, so it just adds this kind of weirdness to it. Even though we don't celebrate it, there's still, it's like, it's fucking Valentine's Day, and I'm so sad, and
it's the best time to be sad.
And so I'm just like doing, I was playing guitar for a while, and I was watching TV and stuff, and then Sierra got home, and she got me like a sad dad care package, and it was the cutest shit. I mean, it was like, it just kept coming. There was like fucking Sour Patch Kids and Swedish Fish and
candies that were candy, but you can't break a tooth on them.
Yeah, well, yeah, and 6-pack of an IPA, and then like a bunch of like beard care.
Oh my god,
shit. And like a little comb that was like in a leather case.
No way.
And my neck's been really, really bad the last couple of weeks. So like these like Tiger Balm patches, and it was just like it was a treat yourself.
Yeah.
Sad dad care package. And man, shout out to my wife.
Have you used any of it yet?
Fuck yeah, I have. I
know you use that comb.
I haven't used that yet, but I'm a pretty lazy shaver. Mm-hmm. Just in the shower, like I said, in the shower, just with a full fucking bullshit Gillette, and but like she got me all this shit, so I like yesterday I like said, you know what, let's take care of this thing, and I took out the fucking safety razor, and did it over the sink with all of the stuff and did all of the things, and felt really good after, actually.
Nice. Yeah, the skin always feels good.
Really close shave.
Yeah.
So
maybe it's all just an illusion. Maybe you cleaned up the rest of it so much that by default it made that look darker.
Maybe.
It could be an illusion.
Don't say that.
No, it could be an illusion.
But this is what I wanted to talk about.
I'm here to hypothesize.
Sierra asked me this question the other night. She goes, so I love it. She just said, she like prefaced that. And I think this was a leading question because I think there was an answer she wanted to hear.
Okay.
Because she loves it, which is just, it's so mind-boggling to me because I've literally have never had facial hair in my life.
It doesn't look bad on you.
It
really doesn't.
Thanks. And you know what? My boss said it. He said it's a good look for you.
Yeah.
Like other people have said that. I sent it to my dad and he just goes, it's Lemmy. And I sent it to my brother. My brother goes, greasy.
Nice.
And, anyway, Sierra asked me the other night, she goes, so do you think like, what if this is just like you now? Like, what if this is just your look, like for the rest of your life? I think she was putting a little weight on the question.
Sure.
But it's funny to think about. Like, what if this just sticks and it's like from now on, like I'm like 70 years old and somebody's like, when did you? And it's like, yeah, one day when I was 36 years old, I just grew it out and shaved it to be funny, and then I never looked back.
Well, I shave my head, and I get that question all the time. When did you just decide to shave your head? And I was like, I went in for a haircut one time, and I sat down. I was in the chair, and I went, you know what, Jim? I think I'm just gonna shave it. He was like, really? Did I already tell this story?
Are you talking about Jim at the Mug and Brush?
Yeah.
We might have had this conversation, but tell it again.
He cut my hair for like, from the time that it was starting to go, 10 years or so.
He cut my hair 2 or 3 times. Because do you remember Duwack?
Yeah.
The place that he was at beforehand?
That's where he was at, yeah.
Yeah. That's right when I moved here.
Oh, gotcha.
He cut my hair probably 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
And he cut my dad's hair.
Long story short, he goes, yeah, today's the day? I said, yep. He goes, all right. He cuts it, and then he goes, come on, let's go next door. We went next door to the Blue Danube. He bought me a shot and then didn't charge me. And he was like, I hope you'll stop in every once in a while. And I would stop in and just say what's up to him because he had that spot right next to the Dube. You
know what? Shout out to the Dube. Pour one out for the Dube.
Yeah, man.
I spent so much time there. I spent so many nights there after shows.
Same.
I dealt with so much drama there.
Do you have any idea why they went out of business?
I think it was just they couldn't keep up with the rising rent.
Really?
Yeah.
You would think that a place like that was long standing, first of all, it's still empty.
Yeah.
So obviously
I'm about to say somebody needs to like buy it and reopen it with a similar menu.
Yeah.
Maybe shave down some of the stuff that nobody gave a shit about, like the tour of Italy.
Oh, it was like 3 different Italian things in your plate.
Although one time we went there as a family.
I would get the Dube. Remember they had it was like Tuesday or something. They would do like $1 burgers.
Yeah.
I would.
Yeah, dude.
I would go.
And those
4 of those things.
Dube nuggets.
Yeah.
Oh,
You know those were frozen nuggies.
I was not a fan of the Barry's Inferno, but I know that everybody loved it dearly. And I always got a Philly cheesesteak. I love the Philly cheesesteak there.
I usually did the burgers.
And one time, though, we went there as a family before they closed, and Rowan was going through a growth spurt at the time. And I remember he got like a burger and fries, and then on the side, he got like a half-size plate of spaghetti.
Oh, my God.
And he housed all that shit.
Nice. I took Hayden to Bob Evans one time, and a similar thing happened. He ate a full, like, adult meal, and then he was like, I'm actually still hungry. And they accidentally brought him some stuff, and then they corrected his order, and then he ate all the wrong stuff too, and then ate like half of my food. Every once in a while the kids just do that, and then right now I can't get him to eat like a full meal.
Me either.
Like, yeah, I don't know, he's just not hungry, I guess, which is crazy because he is growing. I've asked you this before, I can't remember the answer. Did you say you did get your oldest a cell phone?
Mm-hmm.
And that just happened, right?
Yeah, like 6 months ago.
I feel like this is a pretty good segue into talking about the Bark technology.
Sure.
Because I'm in the process of looking at getting Hayden a cell phone. The reason is because he's had his Gizmo Pal watch for about a year. He's going to be going into middle school. I just think it's time to give him a device. But
I mean, I'll tell you that's what was the thing. That was middle school. It was, hey, in our head, it's like, I didn't have a cell phone until I was 18 years old.
Yeah, I was 18.
And I was like, yeah, we should. I know that it happens earlier now. We should wait till he's like 13 or 14. But then he went to 6th grade, and every fucking 11-year-old had an iPhone.
Dude, half of his 5th grade class have iPhones and stuff. Dave was actually telling me that, dude, his daughter is younger than Hayden, has an iPhone, an Apple Watch, an iPad Pro, like has all kinds of shit. Anyway, so like one of the things that I worry about is just online in general. Like, I know how online was when I was growing up. Mm-hmm. I'm sure it was similar for you. We're about the same age. The AOL days, the AOL chat days, and it's only gotten worse since then. I know what kind of kid I was online. I know the things I was looking at, I was searching. So that's where I first ever heard about this company, bark.us. So when the opportunity came up to partner and basically have them sponsor this, I was like, all right, I'm going to bring that to Collin and talk to him, because I feel like you and I always talk about technology, and I always try to use technology to, like, enhance my life or make it easier or protect my kid or something like that. And I feel like this plays right into that. Mm-hmm. So essentially what it is, it's a software and a layer of AI that can analyze everything your kid does on their devices, whether it's their laptop, their phones, or other, and detect all kinds of patterns, from people trying to prey on them to, maybe they're posting sad updates and they just kind of get overlooked. But Bark can actually pick up on that and stop things like, suicidal thoughts and ideology. That'll catch that, alert the parents. And they've been doing this for a long time. They provide their technology to schools. And I think when I looked at it earlier today, there was like 100,000 alerts that went out today. That's 100,000 things that they alerted parents to at least step in and take a look at. I know that generally speaking, you're not a big fan of, like, Big Brother and things like that. But yeah. Where do you draw the line from protecting your kids and Big Brother?
It makes me uncomfortable, and I'm not saying necessarily bad uncomfortable. It gets my brain turning in a way that's like, what are the implications of this at a bigger scale? But that being said, I do worry a lot about. I have like Apple Screen Time on, which is great.
Right.
It's great. It's like I can see how many times he's picked his phone up and like what the first thing he does when he picks his phone up. I can see details, and I know that Apple has sophisticated AI that blocks objectionable content and things like that. But I also, we've talked about this. Like, I was a teenage boy. And we are the first generation who are masters at erasing our tracks when we are engaged in explicit activity online. Yeah. And so it does worry me a lot because these are children that are growing up in a digital world Rowan's been using an iPad since he was 3.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he looked at it the first time he used it and he knew what to do.
Yeah. You touch this, you touch that, you do this.
To the point where he looked at my iMac and thought it was a touchscreen. You know what I mean? Like our kids are growing up in a world that we don't understand. And 2/3 of our lives has been digital.
I agree. But in my current role as a product manager for digital technology, I realize how much research plays an important role, right? Just like you said, your kid picked it up, knew what to do. That's because Apple and other makers of touchscreens spent countless of hours and millions of dollars researching what makes something intuitive. And you have to talk to the right people, right? You have to get the right researchers to do the research and to get a good readout, that tells you what you need to know. Yeah. And I think that's why this technology speaks to me, because they actually worked with child psychologists, like youth advisors, digital media experts, law enforcement. They worked with all these people to identify what makes a good trend or what is this type of behavior. And then they add that to their AI, and that's how it does it.
Mike, and I think it's great. I think as a tool for parenting and a tool for, I keep talking that I'm playing with. That's the thing. I started playing with the mustache. So now I'm talking like this, and then I talk like this, and I talk like this, and then I talk like this. Anyway, as a tool for parenting, it sounds great, and I would be willing to give it a shot and further discuss it.
You should know that it is free trial.
Nice. I also worry just about the data economy. Like I would want to be assured that the data is not being like stored in a malicious way.
Sure.
Or is being farmed out to, I don't know. I just don't.
Other data mining things Yeah. No, I agree. I think both of us have an obligation to check it out.
Yeah.
And we'll give our feedback. But thanks to bark.us for sponsoring this. Yay.
Nice. Thanks.
This next thing I want to talk about is this crazy ass story that I caught online. Speaking of online, it was like the headline made it too much. Like I couldn't believe it. And it's a guy named Brady Feigl, who is a pitcher. He's like a minor league pitcher, right?
Okay. I saw you put this. I have no idea what you're talking about. So.
Yeah, I put it on there last time and we just didn't have time to talk about it. Anyway, Brady Feigl, he's a pitcher. There is a second guy named Brady Feigl who is also a minor league pitcher. When you look at these two guys, they look like they could be twins, right? They don't know each other. So,
what?
Dude, it gets crazier. So everybody...
They look the same.
They
do the same thing.
Yes.
And they have the same name.
Yes. And...
Are they the same age?
And, oh, dude, I think they're the same age. Hang on. I'm going to look it up real quick because I did not...
Is this a literal glitch in the Matrix?
Pretty much. Hang on. Let me go find it real quick. Yeah, but I didn't know if you had caught this story. It made its rounds quite a bit. Let me see if I... Dude, are you getting... I'm not getting any cell service in here right now.
I don't know. My phone's over there.
Oh, why don't you pick it up and check?
I can't reach it.
Anyway, so long story short, they do. I'm telling you, I really want this to pull up because I could almost swear that not only are they the same age, they had like the same birthday or something super weird that like made people speculate maybe they were separated at birth.
There's also like this idea of I know you are real far.
I know you are.
I'm going to go into the weeds here.
Do it.
There's this idea, of that we live in this infinite multiverse.
Sure, where there's two people that are the same.
Well, it's infinite. So like that idea is that there is another universe that every single thing is exactly the same, except there's two of me instead of one of me.
All right, so let me read you this.
And 3 and 4 and 5, on and on.
Let me read you this highlighted section here. Brady Feigl is a 6'4" pitcher for a single A affiliate of the Oakland A's. Meanwhile, Brady Feigl is a 6'4" pitcher.
Shut the fuck up.
They're same height for the Texas Rangers Double-A club. Both Bradys have red hair, red beards, thick glasses. Okay, so here are the two guys. They don't necessarily look like twins in this particular photo, but
they look like brothers.
They look like brothers.
That is a wrinkle in space-time we are seeing.
Yeah.
I'm calling it right now. That's what it is. We're in a weird dimension.
So what happened was
somebody who knows the science better than me is listening to this and going, "You are such a fucking idiot."
So they actually they took a DNA test, and it turns out they're 100% that bitch. However, they are not brothers.
It's wild that Lizzo's line has permeated our culture so much that you started that, and I knew that was the joke you were about to make.
Yeah, why would I not?
It's crazy.
We've never made that joke.
It's crazy.
So. The only thing they really had in common is the exact same percent of Germanic ancestry, which was 53%.
The only thing they have in...
Well, I mean,
give me a fucking break.
Sure. I meant as far as like DNA.
This is fucking... This is a glitch in the space-time continuum.
Yeah, I thought that was crazy. And when I watched the video, because there's like a video associated with it, when I watched it, I was sitting there on the edge of my seat just waiting to find out these dudes were somehow like separated at birth or some weird shit. And then when I saw it, I was like, I got to put that on there. And,
you've seen the movie Interstellar, right?
No.
Isn't
it? Isn't that the really weird one that's just like the dude's just out in the middle of space forever?
No.
What the fuck is that one?
What? Oh, that's Moon.
I don't feel like that's the name of it. Anyway, what is Interstellar? I have no idea. I am the worst at watching movies.
Oh, dude.
I don't watch movies.
Do you like Christopher Nolan movies? Like
the only Nolan...
The Dark Knight, Inception.
Inception was cool. I don't really fuck with comic book movies.
Did you see Christopher Nolan movie? What's it called? It's a war movie. Damn it.
You could pull out your internet device and find it.
It's over there. Nope. Still don't. There's actually science about that. Like when something's on the tip of your tongue, like literally the part of your brain that's figuring it out shuts off and you can't. I've actually heard that.
Our own brains troll us.
It's crazy.
You've got it. Say ope. Nope. Don't got it.
Christopher Nolan on IMDb. Christopher. Oh, yeah. I'm sure you like a lot of Nolan movies. Here we go.
All right. Start listing them, and I'll tell you if I've even
The one I was trying to think about was Dunkirk.
Never saw it.
Dude, it's wild because it's all about it's a specific situation that happened between the British and American and the French in World War II.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's focusing on this one thing, but the whole time, other than the music being really crazy, the whole time you hear just these horrifying sounds of diving bombers. It's like the whole movie.
Mm-hmm.
It is so stressful. The Dark Knight Rises,
Sure.
Inception. Have you seen The Prestige?
Nope.
God damn it,
dude! I'm telling you, I really do not make time for movies. If I even sit down to watch a movie, I fall asleep.
Insomnia with Robin Williams.
Nope.
Memento.
Yeah.
He did that. Anyway, the movie Interstellar, it's legitimately one of my favorite movies of all time. That's why it's funny that I'm like, have you seen it? Because it's basically, it stars Matthew McConaughey and it's 3 hours long and it's about we're running out of resources on Earth and we need to find another planet to seed humanity on.
Okay.
And but it involves a lot of thought, a lot of theory about going through wormholes and gravity and black holes. And actually, they have a black hole in the movie that is they had a consultant who's an astrophysicist.
Okay.
And he had all of these equations about black holes and stuff like that. He was like the foremost dude on this sort of thing. And they pumped all of these equations and stuff into their CGI supercomputers,
mm-hmm.
For making the graphics. And I guess the depiction of a black hole in Interstellar is the most scientifically accurate, because they, as scientists, they didn't have the resources, the money and resources to be able to render that shit with these equations they had. But then they got these big multi-million-dollar Hollywood CGI things that can render it. It's wild.
Oh, that's crazy.
It's wild. Anyway, but the movie talks a lot about gravity and time and space and other dimensions and stuff like that. So that's what I was getting at. But there's like a part, there's like one part where they're on a planet they go down to this planet that's really close to this black hole. And they're on the planet for like 25 minutes or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And they get back to the spaceship, and it's been 17 years on the spaceship because of the time warp on the gravity. So like the dude's like, I've been waiting 17 years for you to come back. You know, it's crazy. It's a crazy movie. You should see it.
I'll give you an example of how detached I am from movies. My wife really wanted to watch Dr. Sleep.
What's that?
I think it's like pick up where The Shining left off.
Oh, yeah.
And I get, I don't know, 25 minutes in, and I just looked over at her and said, I'm done with this movie.
You're just not really a cinephile, are you?
No. Nope.
I enjoy a good film.
I don't know, man. I just like things to make me laugh. When I sit down and dedicate time to something, I want it to like entertain me to the point of laughter.
You know what I watched this morning though?
What?
That was sick. Godzilla King of the Monsters is on something, HBO or a Netflix or something like that. Did you see the new Godzilla movie a couple years ago?
I saw part of it. I think I fell asleep.
And then there was Kong Skull Island that came out after that.
Oh yeah, I actually did want to see that.
And so Godzilla King of the Monsters is the third one. Basically, they're building a whole new kaiju, you know, like that old school monster movie kind of thing.
But the graphics
like
are
a whole new version of that mythology. And dude, it was fucking awesome. I watched it this morning. I was like I was designing some logos for We Demon, and I was just watching it. And it's what I like about these new ones is that it's like the old school Godzilla ones where it's like the humans don't matter. Like they still have their stories and stuff like that, but it takes a second because like the whole thing is like, no, this is between them, and cities are getting destroyed in the process, and humans are just collateral damage on this whole thing. And I love that. It's not like the 1998 Godzilla movie that was all about the people and the story. It's not about that. And but now this new one is fucking. I mean, it's got Godzilla, it's got Mothra, it's got King, the fucking three-headed Hydra thing. The shit's wild. It was awesome.
All right, I might give it a chance.
It's good if you just want like big, stupid, screaming, fighting monsters.
Did that contribute at all to your nostalgia trip?
No. Is that all I said was nostalgia trip?
I mean, you said nostalgia tripping big time.
Because that has nothing to do with this.
Oh, really?
But I'll happily go into it if you want me to rail on it. That's about music. It's about specifically Furnace Fest. I started a tweet thread about this on Twitter the other day, and I got 3 tweets in, and I deleted the whole thing because I felt like I was just being an asshole and not getting my point across. So I want to say it out loud in a way that I feel like I'm getting my point across. It's like, I can't go to Furnace Fest because Jordan Holland's getting married that weekend. So maybe it's just because I'm pissed that I can't go. I'm just kidding. But I think it's amazing, the idea that nearly 20 years later, all of these bands are getting back together, probably going to be playing like they're like 18 Visions is teasing something. That's what made me think about this. I don't know if you saw 18 Visions is teasing something for Tuesday, 2/18, and it's Pink. So is this going to be a vanity thing? Is it going to be a remastered version, a re-recorded version, which would be awesome? Because I love Vanity. A lot of people hate it. I loved it. Anyway, 18 Visions is teasing that. And then all of these bands, I mean, you look at that Furnace Fest lineup, and it's like 94% old bands getting back together.
Yeah.
Which is cool. Don't get me wrong. I'm not dissing it. And a lot of those, like a handful of those bands are my friends, you know, like people like that, like, I think it's awesome. Like the Beloved guys, I was talking with those guys, like, dude, it's so sweet that you guys, don't get me wrong, it's sweet. But then I think, yes, like Knock Loose is on it, and a couple newer bands are on it, but like, are we wasting the opportunity to like have this fest be like half reunions and half young new bands? Are we so focused on the nostalgia that we're ignoring this, like, there's a shit ton of amazing heavy music, hardcore, metalcore happening now with kids that are half our age. You know what I mean? Like, are we swinging the pendulum too far?
No, I don't think so. And the reason I say that is because there are 1,000 fucking fests a year, right? Let Furnace Fest be what it was with the bands that were.
That's fair. And I don't mean to throw Furnace Fest under the bus, because it's also like, I know the guy putting it on, and like I
God, you're flexing all over this.
I'm not being an asshole about it.
No, I'm fucking with you. But you're flexing.
But like, it's cool, like, because I feel like, honestly, if I really wanted to, I could probably get Maranatha on it if I wanted to.
The whole Jordan get married.
Yeah, thing. But it's cool.
You can't do both.
It's
You can't be like Jet Set Collin. Like, I mean, it's Furnace Fest. It's not one day.
I know,
right?
But I don't know. I guess I just excuse me, as a old guy who feels like I'm still pretty plugged in to what's going on. I still go to a lot of shows. I still do stuff.
Sure.
There's just so much awesome young raw energy that I just want to see more of. And you gotta watch. There's that band that's got a lot of hype right now, Gulch. It's like, it's got, I don't know if you remember the band Pulling Teeth, but it's kind of like it's kind of like Pulling Teeth's like younger, dumber brother. Like, it's just like a little bit more caveman-y version of that band. But then it's also like, they're young guys who are ripped and they don't have shirts on. So there's also like a real Cro-Mags kind of vibe, you know, that kind of pissed, scary New York hardcore thing. Anyway, like, that band's awesome, and they're all, I guarantee, like, one of their guitars I was looking at can't be older than 17 years old.
What?
And you need to watch, after, when you get home tonight, you need to watch Gulch live at This Is Hardcore. It's 18 minutes long, and it made me wish I was there and fighting. I mean, it just made me want to fucking fight. There's my rant. It wasn't really a rant. It's just, hey guys, it's cool that all of our old favorite bands that we grew up with are back together, but remember that there's a bunch of younger guys who are half our age doing the same shit, but better. That's all I'm saying.
Sometimes I wonder if bands are actually doing it better, or I just like their recordings better, because recording technology's gotten so much better.
I think it's more nuanced. I agree with that, but I think it's more nuanced than that. That's why I said, like, if 18 Visions re-recorded Vanity, I think it'd be amazing.
Now, I think here's an example. Like, I think that Slipknot, like, they'll always hold a certain part for me, right? Mm-hmm. In my heart, because when it was like 99, 2000, that was one of my biggest influences by far, right? That being said, even when I go back and listen to that record, like the Slipknot record with like Eyeless and, you know, Sick and all that, even then I'm like, still don't like this recording.
I think it sounds awesome.
See, I'm just, it's fine. It's fine. It's better than some recordings that came out of that era.
It's shitty. It's shitty. The drums specifically are shitty, but I think it's awesome.
Which brings me to, there's a band called Left to Suffer. Have you heard them? They are fucking heavy. Like, they are heavy.
Nice.
Right? Well, they covered Eyeless.
Oh, sweet.
And they did it, you know, with their guitar sounds, their drum sounds. And I'm like, holy shit, like, this is fucking heavy. I wish that some of the records that I grew up loving, and I mean, some of them, like It Dies Today, for example, I think It Dies Today to this day produced some of the heaviest breakdowns
I'll tell you right now.
Ever heard.
I'll tell you right now, I did not follow that. I didn't like that Caniff Choir record. Caniff Choir. I didn't like that record, and I did not follow them after Forever Scorned. Sure. That 8-song EP or whatever.
Because he got throat surgery and was singing more, right?
It didn't really, I mean, it didn't have anything to do with him changing. It was more that, like, the whole band changed to something that I was kind of, at the time, was like getting out of.
The whole Trust Kill sound.
And yeah, so I was getting into more death metal and stuff like that. And to me, I agree with you. That band had some of the hardest fucking mosh.
What they excelled at was the setup, letting you know that mosh was coming. Holy shit. Like, that's where I love them. And actually, one of my favorite.
I saw them at Bernie's. Or not Bernie's, Midgard Common.
I saw them at Midgard.
Yeah, we were at the same show.
Yeah, that's right. That's before we knew each other, though.
That was on, they were touring on Forever Scorn. My boy Todd Mann put that show on.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I bought a XL shirt.
Nice.
If that shows you, like, I was in transition from, like, Slipknot vibes to medium shirts.
Man, there's a bunch of size large and XL shirts that I had that I got rid of when I was in my Too Cool metalcore phase that I'm so sad about.
Let me tell you, I told you my mom's house is like a time capsule. One time I go over there and hanging on the back of the door, like she has like an older house in Marion Village, and it had doors like everywhere, like door from the dining room to the kitchen, you know, wood door, but it was always open. Well, on the back of it, I come out of the bathroom one day and I look up and it's my old band's shirt and the Slipknot shirt that I bought in '99 with the barcode on it that says "People Equal Shit."
Nice.
And they sold the censored version of it at Hot Topic, but if you went to the actual concert, you could get the "People Equal Shit," like, you know. And I was all about shirts with cuss words on them because I was edgy. Yeah, I saw those two shirts hanging on the back of the door, and I was like, "Oh shit!" And both of them were in extra large. I should take those because honestly, I could probably fit them now.
Dude, or even if you didn't fit them, you could sell that shit on that Depop or whatever, and you probably make $300 on that fucking Slipknot shirt. Really? People, dude, you need.
I gotta go get all my shit from her house.
These kids are going crazy.
It's like my soap story
with vintage metal shirts right now.
It's like my soap story from the last thing. I have all this shit at my mom's house. I need to go and just like,
yeah, dude.
I need to do a deep clean.
I'm actually in a Facebook group that's OG new metalcore and hardcore shirts.
I had
people selling shit.
I had a Spine Shank shirt too that said "Fuck Integrity."
Telling you, man, there's a big market for it right now. You need to strike while the iron's hot because you could make some serious money off of garbage Gildan shirts from the late '90s.
You know, a similar thing is like old skate gear. One of my
or if they're that blue grape or whatever, that one specific brand.
Oh yeah,
kids, like people are all about that shit.
When I went to her house one time, she hands me a box of shit, and one of the things that was in there, well, number one, it was my fucking helmet from like skating. Like when you go to skate parks back in the day, you had to have a helmet or they wouldn't let you in. And the other thing was a Senate hat. And Senate is like a skate brand that's no longer around.
Yeah,
dude, it was a fucking piece of shit. It was a beige trucker hat with a green Senate logo, and I only took it so I could snap a photo of it and then send it to Andrew and my buddy Sam, who Sam owned a skate shop out in Grove City. And I was like, "Oh, this is funny. Look at this shit." And he goes, "Oh shit, man, where'd you score that?" And I'm like, "Oh no, my mom like gave me a bunch of shit. I just took a picture of it before I threw it out." And he was like, "Whatever you do, don't throw that out." He was like, and he linked me to a message board. The message board was just like that. Old Senate gear and rollerblade and shit like that, where people were spending hundreds of dollars for this shit. I never dug something out of the trash faster. Because that Senate hat, all I did was take a picture of it and then throw it in my trash can that was inside the garage that I used for like sawdust and shit like that. I threw it in there. He told me that shit. Dude, I went right back in there. Dusted that motherfucking thing off, and it lived in the back of my trunk for a while. I ended up not even selling it. I just gave it to him. I was like, "You take this. If you want to sell it, you can sell it."
You just like when you were telling that story, or when you were just talking about like old shit like that, it just made me think of this. I haven't thought of this in 20 years, but this is really funny. When Family Values Tour came through Grand Rapids, Michigan, where I lived in 1997 or 98, I went to it and it was cool. You know, we talked about this. That was the year that Korn was doing surprise sets. They did it in Columbus. They did it in Grand Rapids. So,
here it was at Schottenstein Center.
Yeah. And anyway, but at the time, my stepdad worked on the facilities crew at the arena that they played at. And he, was cleaning afterwards and after all the bands left and all that. And he comes home and he gives me this beanie. And he goes, I found this in Limp Bizkit's dressing room. This is Fred Durst's hat. And it was a beanie that was like, remember that porn star brand?
Yeah.
And so it just had 3 X's. It was like a patch that said XXX.
Yeah.
It's also funny too because it's before I knew anything about straight edge. I wore this fucking hat And it was one of those beanies, you know, that's like knit, you know, and it just like comes straight down. There's no fold or anything like that. Fold. And it was like it was a black with white and a red stripe in between those. And it had this patch on it. I wore this hat for like a year all the time.
Did you wash it?
Well, yeah.
I'm just checking.
But
got lice.
But thinking that it was Fred Durst's hat. But then now as you told that story, I never thought about it again. As I'm looking back, and it popped in my head. I was like, there's no fucking way that was Fred Durst's hat. He found it when he was cleaning dressing rooms. It was probably some fucking dumbass who was hanging out trying to get signatures or something like that. Because it was also like...
It was probably a very, very just turned 18-year-old girls. Who was...
But I wore it for like a year thinking it was Fred Durst because he told me that. I thought I had Fred Durst's hat. There's the title.
I thought I had Fred Durst's hat.
Oh my God. Oh Jesus. That's so funny. I literally have never thought of that before until you were telling that story. And I was like, holy shit, I forgot about that hat with a triple X on it. I, for a year when I was a senior in high school, wore a triple X hat. Or a sophomore in high school wore a triple X hat before I got involved in the hardcore scene. If I still had that hat and I just like wore it at a hardcore show, people would have thought I was straight edge.
Well, yeah. You know, like early on when I was like just getting on AOL and shit like that, and people had these
X's.
Yeah, no, they had SXE. I thought it was sexy. I didn't realize until much later that was straight edge.
Oh man.
I was like, oh shit, this girl's got sexy in her name. Like, I'm about to see if I can get her photo.
Dude.
And wait 7 years for this 7 megabyte photo to download.
Dude, that's so funny.
So my brother gave me a poster. It was a poster of Eddie Vedder, right? And he told me this story. He's like, yeah, man, bought this poster at the Pearl Jam concert. And yeah, I was up front and I just rolled it out on stage and he signed it. And like, he gave me this poster. And first of all, this is the biggest poster that has ever existed in the history of posters. I'm not kidding when I say it was like 7 foot by like 11 foot. It was
what?
It was fucking huge. It was so big. He gave it to me because where the fuck was he going to put it? He couldn't put it anywhere.
I think it's probably an exaggeration on size, but I will give it to you that it's probably a giant poster.
So let me tell you how big it was. My mom had 8 or 9 foot ceilings, and I couldn't roll it out all the way. I'm dead serious. I wanted to put it on my wall.
He stole their backdrop.
No, he bought this fucking poster. He bought this poster at the Pearl Jam concert. And it was so big that I tried to like hang it up and I tried to like, you know, figure out where I wanted to put it on the wall and it wouldn't fit. It didn't, like I had it at the top.
It's so funny.
And it was laying on the ground, still partially rolled up.
It's so funny.
So the motherfucking thing was bare minimum 9 feet tall. So, and he gives it to me because he had nowhere to put it either. He couldn't do shit with it. So he's like, you can have this. It's signed by Eddie Vedder. And so I look at it and I'm like, oh shit, it's really got Eddie Vedder. And, you know, I was like, that's really cool. He told me like 2 years later, after I had already flexed on everybody, like, oh, look at this. I got this. It's signed by Eddie Vedder. He's like, no, I signed that. I just wrote it just in cursive right there at the bottom. And then,
oh my God.
Dude, when I look at it,
funny.
when I looked at it, then I was like, this looks nothing like an autograph.
But he was trying to be a good big brother.
He was. So, speaking of, so we talked about like people that spend a lot of money on these like vintage things. Are there things that you are just a fucking cheapskate about? And like, what do you spend money on and you're just completely fine spending money on it? And then what are you like uber cheap about?
I'm cheap about a lot.
All right. Give me some examples of like where the normal person would just do this, but you're like, fuck that, do this.
Let's see. One thing that I'm cheap about, I was thinking about this earlier, is Sierra's really good at organizing stuff. Mm-hmm. So she gets an idea of the way things should be organized. And she's like, well, to do that, I need this shelf and I need this type of bin. And so it's like, I'm going to go to Target and spend $150. You know, so I get like, why can't we just get some cardboard boxes? you know, or whatever, you know.
What?
You know, like, so I'm like,
You're talking about permanent fixtures in your house, and you're like, fuck it, let's put some.
I'm not talking about like, well, yeah, I guess. Yes, you're right. My initial reaction to Sierra wanting to go to Target to buy storage stuff is, don't we have enough storage stuff? And if not, can't we just box stuff up? Like, I am cheap about that. That is something I'm cheap about. I am cheap. Another thing I'm cheap about is, Beatrice needed new shoes, and though I love the idea of the flex of my kid having like sweet shoes. She's also like a 7-year-old who like gets a pair of shoes and like wears them outside and drags them on the ground when she's like being, on her bike.
Being 7.
She's being a 7-year-old. So and she's going to grow out of them in 3.5 weeks. You know what I mean? So like, but at the same time, so generally I'm like, yeah, so let's get them shoes at like Target or Old Navy, these garbage that just fall apart anyway. Yeah. Because who gives a shit? You know what I mean? But then the other night I took her to Famous Footwear and she got some Chucks and a pair of boots and I only spent $25 and I felt fine about it. But it's not that I'm just cheap about stuff. It's that my initial reaction is like exceptionally cheap.
Extremely frugal.
Now I will spend top dollar for records. I don't give a fuck.
Damn. That's wild.
I bought Frank Ocean Blonde. I think we talked about this, but I bought Frank Ocean Blonde for $40 at Used Kids, and it's a bootleg. And he told me it was a bootleg before I bought it, and I still bought it.
Why?
Because I don't give a fuck. That's why.
But you're talking about a vinyl record?
Yeah.
If it's a bootleg, does it still sound good or better?
That's the whole deal. He goes, I want you to know this is a boot. I'm going to be real with you. He goes, and then he told me about it. Basically what it is everybody wants Frank Ocean Blonde on vinyl because it's an amazing album. And to me, it's honestly one of the best albums of all time. And everybody wants it on vinyl. He did one pressing and it was in Europe. And those things go for like $300, $400. Okay. Mm-hmm. I am not buying a vinyl record for $300.
You just said you'd spend whatever.
No.
So I feel like you're just across the board a little cheap.
But he goes, he's like, this small label knew there was a demand for it, so they bootlegged it, and it's mastered for vinyl, and it sounds great, and everything's good, and it was like colored vinyl, and the packaging was fine.
So can the record label that did that get in trouble?
Probably. I don't know how that works. He goes, I'll tell you what though, I can't keep these on the shelf. There was that much of a demand for it.
Damn.
And it sounds great.
So Frank is missing out.
And it's a record that I wanted. No, he's not missing out because he knows that the people who really want it on vinyl are spending $500 for it.
No, they're not. They're spending $40 at Used Kids.
Well, yeah.
That's what I mean by he's missing out. Like he could, okay, so a few records for $300, right? Or could you just do like thousands at $70?
True.
You know what I mean? There's an old saying. It's like half of a watermelon is better than all of a grape. Right?
Oh, man, you sound like an old guy.
I got that shit from Shark Tank.
You sound like Mark Cuban.
It's not a bad dude to sound like. He's a dickhead, but he got money. I
am cheap. I am viscerally cheap.
So
I will spend money on stuff if I need to, or if I can quickly be talked into spending money.
Yeah,
but across the board,
I don't give a fuck about spending money. I spend money like it's fucking water. But that being said, for whatever reason, I get really cheap if I know there's a cheap option. Like when you said storage, I will not buy storage containers from Target. Fuck no. You know why? Because they're way cheaper at Walmart, and even more cheaper. More cheap. I said more cheaper, and then I realized how terrible that sounded. More cheap. That store called At Home.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, That fucking place rules.
Oh, there's one of those in Mill Run.
Yeah, that's the original one. Well, they put one over.
Yeah, that place is pretty cool.
In the Polaris area, and holy shit, like I go there for like picture frames and like storage things, and they just have way better looking shit that should be a lot more money, but it's not, and it's cheap, and it's fucking phenomenal. And then the other thing that I'm like super cheap about is I'm getting better though, is cords. Like, I will wait a day for Amazon to deliver me an Amazon Basic cord because it's a fraction of the price of anything else.
I agree with that. I lost my train of thought. But yeah, no, I'm pretty cheap across the board. And for instance, you seem like a name brand kind of guy when you're grocery shopping.
Depends. So
cereal.
I'm all over the board with cereal. So,
like I get the Malto-Meal bags always.
I mean, you mean the ones that look like fucking dog food?
No, well, yeah, I guess.
They look like 40-pound things.
I never buy name brand cereal.
Well, we do. We get some name brand cereal, not all. Like I'm completely fine buying like Tostios instead of Honey Nut Cheerios and shit like that. Even though I always get the name brand if it's on sale and it's within like pennies. I'll get the name brand.
Yeah. Well, okay, that's fair. But at the grocery store, I barely get name brand stuff. And
what do you do for coffee?
Kroger K-Cups.
First of all, Kroger Private Selection Breakfast Blend is like the best coffee. It's fucking phenomenal. But
generally, if I'm getting coffee, like bean coffee, I'll spend money on it.
Yeah,
because
it's a treat.
Because that's like I spend energy making it. Like I grind the coffee, I put it in my Chemex. You know, I boil the water. I do the whole deal. I take out the scale. You know, like I do.
That's way too much for me.
I do the whole deal with that when I'm like wanting a really good cup of coffee. But if I'm buying K cups, no, it's going to be the whatever's $4.99.
Oh no, I buy the large thing. It's like it's almost always on sale for $19.99.
Like 48.
It's 48.
Yeah.
It's fucking.
No,
crazy.
I get them 12 at a time, but I always get whatever's $4.99. It's usually Giant Eagle brand or Kroger brand or like, you know, Dunkin' Donuts. Sometimes will have theirs shitty, one cheap.
Just for the record, if it's ever on sale and it's even remotely close, I buy Donut Shop Nutty Caramel. It is the slam.
Yeah, I don't do the flavored shit.
It's still 0 calorie. It's not the stuff that's sweetened.
No, it has nothing to do with
it's the
health.
Roasting.
It has nothing to do with health.
Well, why would you not buy you don't like the smell of good coffee?
Oh, you said it's not sweetened.
No. It's literally just the bean that's roasted a certain way.
Okay. Because I'm a black coffee drinker.
Yeah, same here. We drink no cream, no anything, none of that shit. Although I do like the.
You're talking about a flavored roast. Yes. I get that. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, it's called Nutty Caramel.
Yeah, I just don't do the ones that are they come out with creamer in them. Basically,
nah, those are the ones called like sweet and creamy or some shit.
Yeah, that's gross.
I don't know. Fuck those. So I want to talk about like random things that you're good at because I feel like everybody has something stupid and random they're good at. And honestly, for no reason. It's like you can't really explain why you got good at this thing and you can't really explain why you are, but you're good at it. And I have two that stick out to me that I feel like anybody who's spent any time with me in any capacity, either restaurant or even just around me when I'm holding my phone, not sitting down doing a podcast, you've seen me do two of these things. One, I throw my phone around like it's a fucking... Like I can land my phone like it's a fucking skate trick. I can land it like I don't even need to look at you and I can just like land it, right? So I can do several tricks. All of them. I can do ones where like you push down with your thumb and flip it, or when you push up with your ring finger. Like I can do lots of shit with my phone. I don't know why I started doing it, but I've been doing it so long that even when I walk down the hall at work, I'll just be sitting there flipping my phone. And people are like, "Aren't you afraid to drop your phone?" And I go, "No," because I've pretty much never dropped my phone in the past like 7 years. And even when I do, like you do that weird thing where you catch it with your foot, break its fall. Mm-hmm. The second thing that I'm good at, and I don't know when I started doing this, but when I go out to eat and I'm at a location with those little jelly packets, do you know what I'm talking about? Mm-hmm. Like the little square thing. I'll take one, set it there, set one next to it, and I flip it. And I can flip it on top of it. And then I keep going. I can stack those things like 10 and 12 high. I don't know why I got so good at it, but I can just be like, and just like literally this tall, a foot off the ground. I can hit a jelly packet and land it on top of the other one. Do you have like really fucking weird shit like that you're good at? Or do you know people that are really good at shit?
It's funny that you asked. Like, the owner of my company has that same. He's like, I have a feeling everybody has a superpower, and
oh my god! I hope that mine is not wasted on jelly packets.
No. When he says superpower, it's everybody has something that they're really good at. That's the whole thing. Yeah. It's just a weird thing.
It really is.
Something I'm really good at is it does not matter how much sleep I've had. It doesn't matter where I'm at, what position I'm in. If I want to go to sleep, I can go to sleep.
That's your superpower? That's one of the sleepiest dad.
And it's not even that. It's not the narcolepsy that comes with sleepiest dad, where it's like literally like I hit a brick wall and I'm just like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not like that. It's like I may chalk it up to maybe spending every weekend touring for 4 years, but like, in a captain's chair in a van, it's like, nope, it's time to sleep. So I'm going to get a couple hours. It doesn't matter how much sleep I've had. And 2 hours after I wake up in the morning, I could lay down on the couch and be like, I'm going to take a little 20-minute nap. I'm just really good at sleeping.
Just turning your whole body off.
Sleepiest fucking dad.
That's wild.
That's one of them. Oh, this is good. I'll sit here and think about it though and overthink it.
Well, if you can't think of another one, you can always come back to it when you think of one.
I am pretty good at like balancing shit.
Yeah.
Like pretty like and my dad was like this too. So I think it's one of those things that I just got from.
You balance shit on your nose? You do that like on your forehead and shit like that?
Stuff like that. With brooms and shit. Like I do that, but like I'm really good at like. I remember with the kids when they were younger, like having them stand on my hands and doing this kind of thing. Like I'm pretty good at like that kind
cheerleader shit.
Yeah. So I'm pretty good at that, at balancing stuff.
Dude, we should just do like a whole video episode where it's just us performing our random tasks that we're good at. Oh shit.
Speaking of balancing stuff, that's another thing you got on that list.
Do I?
Brooms.
Oh my God.
People are stupid and they take the internet for granted.
Here's what bothers. Okay, so what we're going to talk about is that story or that challenge or whatever you want to call it.
It's 100% fake news is what it is.
Yeah.
100%.
It started with a NASA tweet, right? It was like a troll from NASA, I think. Anyway, this shit happens every few years.
I don't think it was a troll. I think somebody said NASA said this.
No, I thought it was a real like.
Oh, maybe I'm wrong.
I thought that it was a real thing. We'll have to look at the origin of it. But long story short, put your fucking brooms away or use them. This shit happens like every few years, and it's not a joke. Like every couple years or few years, somebody goes, "Oh shit, look at this thing I can do," and it's all because of X, Y, and Z, something to do with the universe or the fucking equinox or something, right? And it spreads across social media like wildfire. And so I get online and all of a sudden I just am seeing brooms in my timeline.
My uncle was like, still standing the next morning.
Yeah, fucking crazy. As a PSA, I want y'all to know that this shit happens every single day. You can literally stand your broom up every day.
That's the thing, is it took NASA to say, no, idiots. Brooms have a low center of gravity, and as long as you can teepee the bristles, it will always stand.
Yes.
Because the weight's all down there.
Yes.
You idiots.
Preach, Colin.
Stupid. I also saw...
That was going to be my trivial thing that bothers me.
One of the dudes from a hardcore band, I think Rotting Out, on Twitter, posted, he goes, man, if all y'all standing up your brooms would actually use them for bands that stay at your house.
Oh, shit. My only response was, I have a Swiffer. And that thing doesn't stay. You can set it. The Swiffer has a special power, right? Which is you put it against the wall and it still falls over. It doesn't fucking matter where I put the Swiffer handle. It doesn't matter because it won't be there 30 seconds later. It's falling over.
Real talk about Swiffers real quick. This is a sore subject between Sierra and I. I've broken 4, snapped them in half.
Dude, you need to go up to the Bona. Fuck the Swiffer. You got to get the Bona.
See, this is where we're cheap. I don't give a shit about whatever you paid twice as much for.
I didn't. Well, first of all, let me tell you about my one Bona. My one Bona costs less than 4 Swiffers. Can I just tell you that?
I'm just being.
I know.
Because I know you spend top dollar on shit. That's
no, not on the Bona, dude. It was. Here's why I got the Bona instead of the Swiffer. Because at the time of purchasing the Bona, it had a solution for hardwood floors, and the Swiffer did not. And then I just stuck with it. And then Swiffer came out with their own hardwood solution that doesn't.
I don't know what it is about the stainless steel or aluminum that they use for for the pull.
I think,
and the angle of the handle, especially if you have the wet jet.
Yeah, the trigger.
And I don't know what it is and where I hold it, what I do with it, and the pressure I put on it. But I have literally bent 4 of them in half.
And if you're watching this on video, you'll see that Collin is holding it kind of like a pistol grip shotgun. And so if somebody could just Photoshop a shotgun in his hand, please, that'd be great.
But it's wild. It's wild. Like I stopped. We have one right now, but like I'm like every time I use it, I have to like think extra hard about not putting pressure in the same points that I always put it, because I've literally bent 4 of them in half. And Sierra's just like, you broke another one. We have to spend $25 on another one.
Again, I have the same one. I'm telling you, you got to get that Bona. That shit must be made better.
Oh, man.
What's up with this 18 volt?
What?
Did you put that on there?
No, that was the 18 Visions Nostalgia Trip tease thing I was talking about.
Well, what the fuck, Collin?
18 volt.
Look, this says nostalgia tripping big time, and then this says 18V. I thought for sure it was like 18 volt. I'm like, does this guy want to talk electronics?
I didn't talk about real punk shit, though.
You didn't talk about real punk shit. But that also, I tried to lead you into that when you said, because I know that's something that you did this weekend, right?
Yeah. Yesterday, and this has to do with me, being sap dad on Friday night.
Who?
Sap dad.
What? Oh, sap dad.
Feeling sappy.
I thought you
It was funny, too.
I thought you said sapped at, and I was like, whoa, terminology I don't know. Slang I don't know.
Get down with the kids, dog.
Damn, dog, I got sapped at.
Sapped at. This motherfucker sapped at me.
we gotta go put that in Urban Dictionary now.
Oh man,
we gotta figure out what that is.
But I was feeling really sappy Friday night. That's actually really side note to that. I know I was talking about it earlier, but I texted Sierra and I just said, and at this point I had 3 or 4 glasses of whiskey, and so it makes me extra sad, and I was like watching sad bands on YouTube. And I texted her and I was like, just so you know, I'll probably cry tonight.
Oh man.
I was like, and she goes, what? And I said, I'm just feeling it. It's just one of those nights. I feel it. I feel like it's gonna happen. I didn't.
Real quick, can I get, what are your sad bands? Like when you're feeling sad and you put on sad music, what are they?
I listen to stuff that's just got really, really slow, sad melodies, like Paul Bearer, Baroness, doomy shit.
So it's more about the overall feel of the record, not the lyrics.
Or like emo, like Tiger's Jaw, stuff like that.
First Taking Back Sunday record.
Stuff that has heavy vocal harmonies that I can sing along with.
Real quick, when I'm feeling sad, it's that damn Real Friends album.
Oh yeah,
Composure, because the lyrics are sad, but then all the music is poppy, and it makes me feel weird.
Sometimes I'm really sad. I'll listen to stuff like Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds, where it's like
you told me about that record.
Deep voice with a piano, like stuff like that. But it was just funny. I'm self-aware enough that I was just told Sierra, I was like, I feel it. It was like the dam was about to break. You know what I mean? Like I was like, Dad's probably gonna cry tonight. I didn't.
You didn't.
I didn't. I think I ended up hanging out, ended up getting quite a bit more drunk, which I think kind of took my mind off of feeling sad. But
focused on trying to stand instead.
I've also been very haphazard in taking my antidepressants this week, so that probably had something to do with it. But no, last night I went to a punk show. There was something called Jefftopia, and it was out on the west side. It was
nothing to do with me.
It was on Broad Street, in between the BMV and Hague. Mm-hmm. So like the hill top, literally at the top of the hill.
Right.
And it was was in an old storefront, and it was boarded up.
Was it right on the corner?
Yeah.
Yeah. They do rap shows there too, by the way.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
They built a stage for it. Josh from
Daily
Domestic
Grind.
Terror and stuff, Daily Grind. He and his buddy built a stage for it and all that stuff. And there was like 10 bands. It was supposed to start at 6:30. It started at 8:30, and it was and they have a sign that's like private party and stuff like that. So like people are smoking inside, and it's BYOB. And I was cooped up in the house, and I was sad, and I was just like, it sounds really fun to just go to a BYOB show. I miss BYOB shows, and I was like, it sounds fun to me. So I go. And there's two bands, Toxic Warlord and Domestic Terror, that are my friends that would be fun to see. So I go, and it's like totally not my scene. Obviously, I mean, this is a punk show, but it wasn't like PC punks. It wasn't like suburban kids who took a bunch of liberal philosophy classes in college. Sorry if you're mad about that, you can meet me in the DMs. These are the real. This is like the guys who like have spent the last 20 years of their adult life being fucked up. You know what I mean? And it was wild, man. I saw two guys puke.
Yeah.
Everybody was fucked up.
As you should.
Everybody was fucked up. I came home smelling like cigarettes and shitty beer. And
yeah, I do not miss that.
Like I had to like my jacket, like that windbreaker smells still
that
24 hours later. And but it was a good time. It was like I said, it's nice sometimes to just go to a show that's just lawless. It was like somebody's like selling drinks that's got God knows what in it, and everyone's just got their shitty beer, and kids are fighting each other and puking and playing. Like there were some fucking terrible bands, dude. Holy shit. You stayed for several of them? I stayed for a lot of them. I wanted to see Domestic Terror because I think that they have a good brand of death metal, but I was at 11:45 was tapped out on my shitty punk scale. I had to get out of there. So there was a lot of punk, there was some thrash, some death metal. So pretty much just a heavy show. Not even that heavy. It was mostly just punks. It was like spikes and hair and dirt. Dude, it was a good time. I had a good time. I had a really good time. Spikes and hair and dirt. But yeah, I smelled really bad when I left. I don't find myself at places like that often anymore. I can't fucking go to places that they still smoke inside. But it was nice that I saw. It was nice that I like went to a show and I only spent like $16, and it was like $10 was for the show and $6 was for the 6-pack I brought. That was nice. Yeah, that's cool. You remember when like there used to be smoking sections of restaurants? Yeah. Somebody said a quote to me one time, or at least I heard a quote, and it never left my brain. And they said, having a smoking section in a restaurant is like having a peeing section in a pool. No, that's very true. No, it was a hell of a quote, and I thought that was a great analogy. Don't get me wrong. I hate smelling like cigarettes. I hate cigarettes. I hate them, and I hate cigarettes too. But I grew up with it, and the smell makes me really comfortable, and it's really I don't mind being in a room where people are smoking. It doesn't bother me. If my friends are going out to have a cigarette, I'll go out with them. I can do that because I can take a step back and kind of stay mitigated from everything. I go out with them because I like it. That's bullshit. It's gross. Just because it's gross, Collin. No, I know it's gross, but it's because of it's a home smell to me. Do you ever just grab your friend and go, "Hey man, I'm gonna go outside and grab a secondhand smoke"? Will you come outside and provide still to this day, I've never smoked a whole cigarette. I've had a couple of puffs, and when I'm hammered, I smoked probably a third of a cigarette a couple months ago, and it was the worst decision I ever made in my life because I was hammered and I thought it was funny. I never did that, but randomly, do you know what that shit is? I don't know how to pronounce it. Snus or snooze or whatever. Snooze. Whatever that shit is. Yeah, I don't know. I would go to parties back in the day, and somebody would be like, "Oh, you want a snus or snooze or whatever?" And I'm like, "Yeah, let me have it." And then I would get that weird nicotine feeling. Yeah, see, that's the thing. I've never been addicted to nicotine, so it doesn't. Well, me either. I would just tuck that little thing in my lip, and then I'd get a weird feeling, and then that was it. And then I would never go do another one. Speaking of weird feeling, where are we at right now? We're doing just fine. Okay. I'm just making sure that we're not just railing on it. No, we're going to wrap it up here in just a few minutes. But speaking of crazy feelings, so I said earlier, Sierra got me these Tiger Balm patches. Yeah. And I've done a lot of the different, Bengay or
What's the one called? It's like
Salon Paws.
Yeah.
And they're all good. That's all fine. They're always good. Having like the icy hot or all that stuff. It's always fine. But these Tiger Balm ones, a couple weeks ago, a friend was over at my house and she was like, "Yo, you got to try these." And
she's like a dealer.
And
hey man, I know you had those, but you got to try my shit.
And I was like, all right, and we put 2 on.
Yeah.
On either side of the lower neck, and I was also getting drunk that night, and that shit got in my bloodstream, dude. I'm not joking. I felt crazy.
What?
Maybe it's a placebo effect and it's just in my head and I'm just thinking about it, and maybe as the fact that I was drunk too, but and I wore it I put 2 on last night and or Friday night, and same thing, dude. Maybe it's because it's right next to my spinal cord. I don't know, but something about it, I legitimately felt like some sort of weird muscular buzz.
Do you need an intervention? Are you I feel like you had it once and it got you feeling loopy, and then you did it again. I feel like you're Tiger Balming.
It's not loopy. That's the thing. Tiger Balming.
Yeah, dude.
Dude, you're so fucking balmed.
You're on the balm.
It's not loopy. It's not high. It's not that. It's just it wasn't just centrally located in those muscles. It was like a body buzz. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I'm just thinking too much.
So the people out there, if you guys have y'all got bombed off that Tiger Balm, look,
man,
Collin,
I'm so fucking balmed right now, dog.
Getting bombed tonight.
So balmed.
What if alcohol? I feel like people. Maybe. Yeah, I feel like people what if you could get hear me out. A Jaeger bomb. Right?
Jaeger bomb.
Yeah. A fucking yes.
Hey man, you've been chewing on that balm?
No,
take
man.
the sheets off take the thing off the sheets and just chew on them.
Oh, that sounds disgusting.
Hey man, you've been balmed? You put it on your forehead, your temples?
That's what I'm saying. I bet there's places on your body that are better for balming. It's something weird between your ass cheeks.
Bottom of your feet.
Yeah, it's you got to put 2 on your feet and 1 hey dog, between your ass cheeks.
You ever balm your taint?
Taint bombs.
You ever get balmed?
Yeah.
This is weird. Talking about getting balmed. Tiger balmed.
That's fine. All right. I think with that, we're going to wrap it up. We never even talked.
With balm your taint, we're going to wrap that one up.
You got to balm your taint. We never even talked about it. You brought us Hilltops today.
Dog, I think it's
Old Trusty.
I think it's partly because I was at a show last night where I drank a bunch of shitty beer, but I also had a handful of beers while I was cleaning today. Sierra and I deep cleaned. We actually had a list today, a checklist of clutter areas.
Oh, nice.
It was we have our regular cleaning.
Sure.
But it was like B's art table, the art supplies thing, the games cabinet, the counter on top of the cabinets in the kitchen. It was the areas that shit. And we attacked a lot of shit today. So I've been drinking beers all day. So I was I need to drink something tonight that's not going to get me fucking balmed.
I went to the... Oh! Are you going to go home and balm tonight?
Oh, man, probably.
All right. I don't have anything. I don't have anything constructive to add that. I actually went to the fucking gym.
You did. You're like, I'm good for any time today. I'm at the gym right now.
Yeah. And then
we're a half hour late.
That's fine. I'll tell you next time.
40 minutes.
I'll tell you next time what I did to push me back and why I always check reviews before buying things. I have an actual story about that. I'm not going to go into it now. But
great.
I was mad at myself for not checking the reviews, and so I had to make an extra detour today.
Big Room Bar, Thursday night, the 20th. Family Values night. Be there.
Knox. All right. 44. We're out.